I couldn't sleep last night because the story just doesn't make sense to me. I spent all night thinking of why a man would cheat on his wife who's 4 months pregnant by going on Snapchat and talking to a random woman, and the only conclusion that I can come to is that he planned this and that his humiliation is not over yet. And I truly believe that the Wizard Liz has a stalker and that this man has stalked her from the beginning. And let's go over what we know about this story. So the Wizard Liz met Landon 3 years ago online, okay? He would send her all these congratulatory messages, congratulations on this, whatever, and she would thank him. And so they started to develop a little bit of a parasocial relationship. Now, fast forward to Athens a few years later, the Wizard Liz is going to Santorini to see her friend, and she has a layover in Athens. Now, she's in Athens, she has her cap on, she has her mask on, no one can see her, okay? No one can find out that this is the Wizard Liz. However, while she takes off her mask to take a bite to eat, there is Landon. Landon apparently was in Athens at the exact same time, at the exact same terminal, the exact same gate, because he was going to Mykonos. But get this, he was on his way to Mykonos, but his friend canceled on him. So, in a crazy turn of events, he wasn't going to Mykonos after all. He was going to go back home. I don't know, some very crazy, elaborate story that doesn't make sense. Because if your friend cancels on you, would they cancel on you 3 hours before your connecting flight? I mean, he's coming from Dallas. This doesn't make sense. So, of course, the Wizard Liz, being the kind person that we know she is and that Landon knows she is, invites him along to her trip on Santorini. Now, he goes, of course, because he never had any plans to begin with. They go to Santorini and the rest is history, okay? Within 3 months of dating, they become engaged. And I looked up Landon's net worth online. I cannot believe that that is the kind of net worth that can afford all the lavish things that he was doing for Wizard Liz in the long run. It was a very calculated move to get her to agree to marry him very early on, okay? 3 months of extravagance, which, by the way, is usually the amount of time that someone can hold a mask for, and then a very quick engagement and a marriage. They got married so quickly after getting engaged, and then all of a sudden she's pregnant. It's like, this is so obviously a tactic to trap her and humiliate her. If you go on Reddit, you'll find a lot of stories about people hating on Wizard Liz. There's this whole movement about how she's a narcissist and that her practices feed into, narcissism and toxicity. And there is really a big movement on Reddit by incels to take her down. And it would not surprise me if Landon was part of this. Like, I'm getting chills talking about this because, like, this hits so close to home for me. Like, it's such a story that I think all of us can learn from, because at the end of the day, you really don't know anyone at all. I think it is important to note that at the time that Landon was sending all these congratulatory messages to Liz, he apparently had a girlfriend of his own, so he was already in a way cheating on his girlfriend by going after the Wizard Liz. He was love bombing the Wizard Liz, and it turned into manipulation. He knew exactly what the Wizard Liz wanted because he had this parasocial relationship with her. And I see a lot of people online saying, oh my gosh, like, if the Wizard Liz can get cheated on, if Beyonce can get cheated on, there's no hope for us. The truth is that these women are of a much higher target than any random person on the street, because narcissistic, manipulative men go after women that are in positions of power to bring them down and to humiliate them, okay? People like the Wizard Liz have to be more hyper cautious than the rest of us because of who she is. She is naturally attracting the worst men in the world, and she has to be so careful to pick out the right ones. It just so happened that Landon had this very long parasocial relationship with her, and he managed to fool her in such a short amount of time. And it is so sickening to me that he was able to do something like this. So now they're married and she's 4 months pregnant. And by the way, keep in mind that the typical abortion legal limit is around 12 weeks. It can be extended, but 12 is typically what is in with a recommended time frame. So he baby traps her. I mean, waiting until 4 months pregnant, that is a calculated move, and I'm sure he wanted to wait longer if he could. I just think he couldn't wait to humiliate her, okay? He had married her, he had baby trapped her, and he went on Snapchat and he messaged a random girl. Like, come on. He is a public figure. Anyone he messages is gonna know who he is. Like, you can't pretend to not be yourself when you're someone like Landon. So it's very quite obvious that what he did probably wasn't with the intent of cheating because he wanted to be with that woman so bad. I think it was just about being with anyone other than Liz to humiliate her and bring her down. And the reason why I don't think this is over is because what he did was soft enough that in most cases, I do feel like a woman would reflect on this and say, okay, maybe I can take him back. And that's why I think this is just the very first part of his manipulation and humiliation plan. I think that if the Wizard Liz can truly leave him this time around, there's no humiliation, okay? He was just a loser guy that will forever go down in history as the guy that cheated on Wizard Liz. I mean, no one's gonna remember his name in a few years. However, if she does go back with him, then this is part of a longer plot to humiliate her and drive her down, because then the second time, it gets worse. I just have so much respect towards the Wizard Liz because, and I truly hope she doesn't blame herself, because you cannot know. There are situations where you tell yourself, oh, in hindsight, yeah, like this guy was weird, he was love bombing me. But in that moment, you cannot know, okay? And he had studied her for years. He knew exactly what kind of man she wanted, and he molded himself into being this person for her. Of course, anyone in their right mind is going to fall for that. I mean, this isn't a question of her intuition is good or her intuition is bad. It's a question of she was being targeted by a stalker. There was someone out there stalking her and planning this. I just want to end with, regardless of what any man tries to do against the Wizard Liz, it will never, ever erase or change all the accomplishments she has made in her life. It will never make the advice that she gave us any less real, whether or not she chooses to take it herself. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, the Wizard Liz left, like of course she would do that. But in reality, like, it's so much more complicated than that. Like, she's pregnant, she's married, like, she's human, okay? It doesn't matter how much she preaches. Like, we're all human, we all want to be loved, we all want to forgive, okay? I hope she doesn't forgive him, but if she does, it will not change my opinion of her. It will not make me think of her any less, because she's a beautiful person and she deserves love. And I truly hope that she doesn't get back with him, because I do think that he's not sorry and that this is the beginning of a longer humiliation plan if she does get back with him. So I pray that she will leave for good and find someone else. I just couldn't even sleep last night because this happens more than you want to believe to so many women, of these men targeting us and trying to bring us down because of our beauty, because of our success. And I really do think that this kind of cheating should be illegal. I do think we need to hold men accountable for their actions, especially when it comes to things like this. And I would go as far as to say that that baby was non-consensual, because he is not the man he portrayed himself to be. So I don't think that that was a consensual pregnancy. I think that he planned this and that he had manipulative antics towards this, and that the law should view this as such.